Hello, everybody. I'm Keisha, the host of Put Your Phone Down podcast, and I am overwhelmed with the love that I'm receiving from these wonderful people on this panel. Right now, we want to have a community conversation that is well needed for Northwest Indiana. I reside in Gary, Indiana, and just within a few days, it feels like it's been a second ago, we were hit by a severe storm. A lot of us are still without electricity, but most importantly, a lot of us were not informed about the depth and the severity of these storms. So what I did is I reached out, and now I have a panel of very educated people on here that will discuss and educate us on what to look forward to. Good afternoon, you guys.
Good afternoon, Keisha.
Good afternoon,
Good
Keisha.
afternoon. So we have Mr. Mike on here. And Mike, would you please tell the audience what your title is and exactly the things that we discussed? But first off, what is your title?
Sure. My title is Warning Coordination Meteorologist at the National Weather Service, Chicago National Weather Service, which is actually over in Romeoville, Illinois, so not too far up the road from Northwest Indiana.
Thank you for joining. And then next we have Mr. Kevin.
Yes, my name is Kevin DONOFRIO. I'm Mike's counterpart here in the science side. My title is Science and Operations Officer, and so I kind of lead training and help our forecasters use good science when they're making warning decisions.
And then right next to me, we have Miss Erica.
Hi, yeah, I'm Erica Groche, Public Affairs Officer for NOAA's National Weather Service. So I mainly am here to support any media relations that the Weather Service needs at our 122 field offices around the country. Additionally, we have 13 river forecast centers, several national centers. So we have a lot on our plate, but we're always here to support the team whenever we can.
Thank you. I want to thank the National Weather Service Chicago for joining in. One of the things that I came straight in and me and Mike were talking was about the severity of this. And one thing I did say is, what exactly was that? And we agreed. I said, is it a derecho? And Mike and Kevin both jumped in. So what exactly were we hit with? I know you told me it doesn't even really matter about a derecho. What exactly were we hit with a couple days ago?
So, Keisha, I'll just start off real quick, and then Kevin can go into a bit more the technical side of it. But first, thanks for having us. And our thoughts from here at the Weather Service, the entire Weather Service, our office, the agency, are certainly with the folks in Northwest Indiana. This is an incredible storm, and we know even after some period of time, folks are still feeling the effects, and the recovery is going to be a process for sure. So we're just thinking about everybody. But this was a major storm for the region. It's called a derecho. Basically, it's a lot of straight line wind. It does a lot of damage, as everybody knows that's been dealing with it. And occasionally, and this was the situation with this particular storm as well, we see embedded tornadoes with that. So Kevin can maybe go into more of the definitions and why is it a derecho versus an ordinary thunderstorm, but that's kind of the gist of it.
Yeah, so Mike hit that here really well. A derecho. When you talk about these are kind of your higher end windstorms, and they're storms that last a long time. So, I mean, officially the definition is you have to have storms that are a line of storms that is producing damage over more than a 250 mile an hour path. So we check that box. The other thing is that you have to have at least somewhere like 3 to 5 reports of wind damage in excess of 75 miles an hour. So that type of wind damage, that's not going to do just your line of storms that's going to knock down a few branches. This is the stuff that's going to do significant damage, just like you saw there across all of Northwest Indiana. And so that's why this was categorized in kind of that derecho category. So it's not your run of your mill storm that you see every day.
Thank you for that education right there. So what I was discussing with you guys is I've never seen anything like this. And I wanted to just lay the contradictions that I've been hearing just out flat out. What I once heard is it just happens every 10 years or so, just out the blue. Is there any truth to that? Will we be expecting another one anytime soon?
So to answer your question, so it's Even though these don't happen, they don't happen often in one particular location. Although I would say largely, at least probably once a year, you see a type of storm like this. So it may move through, a lot of times they may pass to our south through like the St. Louis area, Southern Illinois. Sometimes they'll go into Wisconsin, but it's not uncommon to see strong lines of thunderstorms moving through areas. Now, they may not always be categorized as, say, a derecho where it has to go 250 miles. However, many times you may see these kind of roll through Northwest Indiana or Northern Illinois, where they maybe cover a 100-mile distance, for example, wouldn't fall in that derecho category. What made this unique when you see these is it's not common you see those 90, 100-mile-an-hour winds. That's what made this one maybe a little bit more unique from this time around.
So I thank you for that. So since we're on that, the one thing that I wanted to actually highlight is the health and safety portion of it. Like I mentioned, I don't think any of us knew how deep this was going to get. I know a lot of people were out shopping while it was going on. A lot of people was just driving thinking that it was going to just zoom through. But when we walked outside, we saw trees that were uprooted, roofs that were ripped off, and we realized that it was way more important than that. Moving forward, when we talk about schools, daycares, like I mentioned, hospitals, this is where we get the meat and potato of it, because a lot of people may not know. They go into panic and they may not know the safe places where they can hide. Where are these locations where we can go even when we are at home? Is it someplace that we can just go and at least try to be safe?
Sure, and it really is situational, like you said. There's sort of a kind of a 4-step framework that we try to get folks to think about and apply: plan, practice, monitor, act. And those 4 steps apply whether you're at home, you're at work, schools, businesses, what have you. And the first step is planning. What are you going to do if you have severe weather that's going to affect you? So if that includes, what is your location? What does your facility look like? The basic rules of going to a safe spot are inside, go to the lowest floor, put as many walls between you and the outside world as possible, and as few windows. And so you kind of take that very basic approach and apply it to your facility, your building, your home, whatever it is. And the thing to remember is when we're talking about safe spots, it's really kind of a spectrum. So going inside, that's going to get you a long way in terms of being safe from thunderstorms. Even that first step, lowest floor, you've kind of added another layer. Interior room, that idea of more walls between you and the outside, the better. Again, you're kind of ratcheting up your chances for being safe as you do each of those steps. So there may not be a perfect spot, but inside, lowest floor, interior type room is going to get you a long way to being safe. So you develop that plan. Part of that plan is also how do you get weather information in the first place? Have multiple ways to get warnings. So NOAA Weather Radio is one of the tools that's out there. We call it the smoke detector of severe weather. It's typically a dedicated small radio receiver. They're generally affordable. From most any online outlet, big box, drugstores, grocery stores will have them. And you set it to your location. And if severe weather information, specifically severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings, come across, the radio will alert you, much like a smoke detector alerts you for smoke. This does that for weather warnings. Keep those cell phone, those weather alerts, the government alerts enabled on your cell phone if you have one. Those will be specific to your location. Within a very very finite radius. If you're in the impact zone of a warning, that'll go off if the criteria are met. We can talk about the criteria a little bit later. Broadcast media have multiple ways to get warnings. Sometimes a system may fail, but the other part of that is we as humans, studies have shown we need multiple taps on the shoulder before we actually take action. So maybe we hear the weather radio go off. Maybe the TV's on in the background and we hear the meteorologist talking about a warning. Maybe our phone starts going off. Maybe we're getting a call from a friend that says, hey, did you hear about this warning? We need all those things sometimes before we actually take action. So develop that plan now, and then practice that plan. Many folks are used to fire drills at work or school, tornado drills. practice those things. Anytime's a good time to practice, especially we focus on that in the spring or the winter before our typical severe weather season. And then pay attention to the weather. We ask folks to be weather aware. Check the weather before you start your day, whether you get up in the morning or you're heading to work overnight. Check the forecast, see if there's any severe weather possible. If there is, think about what you're going to be doing during that favored window for storms and what you might have to do as a result. Are you going to be commuting? Are you going to be at work? Are your kids going to be home or at the daycare? What is your situation? What are you expected to be doing during that time for storms? And how are you going to get the information, and how are you going to stay safe in those situations going forward? And then finally act. The storms are developing, you hear the thunder, you look outside, you see the dark clouds like you mentioned, the phone starts to go off, the weather radio starts to go off, the siren starts to go off, whatever it is, you take action. You put that plan into action, and that forethought ahead of time will really help maximize your odds of being safe and from the storms.
And I like the fact everything that you covered, but one thing you said stick out, and I'm just paraphrasing, how you have to continue, just us as humans, to say, hey, look, it's getting a little gray outside. Do you want to move around a little bit? But for the ones that are, let's say, walking in this weather, on motorcycles or whatever, where would their shelter be when you are dealing with such high winds? Is it anything that they could do?
Get inside is going to be the best thing you can do.
Run inside.
Yep, get inside, and that's part of that monitoring aspect. Some of the situations, some situations can maybe be avoided by having that awareness, knowing when the storms are expected, checking the weather along your route, that type of thing, and doing things to maybe avoid being in that situation. At a minimum, weather is probably inconvenient, but at its worst, it can certainly be destructive or even deadly, as we know. So taking a few minutes to pause, go to that safe spot, and act that plan may ultimately save your life.
Thank you for that. So really one thing, or a few things that I wanted to put out is, as this weather changes, we are transitioning into another season. I know you guys don't have the crystal ball in front of you and can tell me, okay, look, this is what's going to happen. But as this weather gets more aggressive or severe, can you tell me a little bit of what winter could look like? Do you guys think winter will be a little bit more aggressive since we've seen what it is in this season?
So I'll take that one here, Mike. So, fortunately or unfortunately, we live kind of in a forecast cycle. We can look, kind of in the near term. And I guess just initially here thinking about fall, as we transition from our severe weather season to the winter weather season, we are at the peak of our severe weather season. You'll see a notable dip here as we get into September, October, and the number of severe weather reports we see. Now, we do see severe weather all year round, so we do want to keep that in back of your mind. When severe weather strikes in the winter, they tend to be larger systems that we get concerned about. But as far as the winter weather is concerned, as we transition to those hazards, we're looking at we're entering in what's called a strong El Nino, and so that's one of our biggest factors that we can use to kind of tell a story as to what the winter may look like. Now, obviously, there's small scale details that are going to change that pattern. We're always going to get some type of colder or winter weather in the winter. It just may be over the course of the season. El Nino, at least across Northwest Indiana, tends to be a little bit warmer than normal. Precipitation tends to be somewhat near normal, but we average less snow. And so, yes, overall, that may mean less snow for the season, but you may get that snowfall in one big storm where it could be just as impactful. So we don't want people to neglect, even though you may be hearing stories, oh, the big El Nino is going to mean we're not going to get any winter weather. That does not mean that. It may be over average, you may not, but you still need to be prepared, as Mike says, because winter weather, albeit different types of hazards, often requires even more planning because, you may be going on a road trip, you need to prepare your vehicle and all sorts of other things that, versus severe weather tends to be kind of a quick response sometimes. So don't let your guard down regardless.
Now, thank you for educating me on that, because I started hearing about El Nino years ago. And I had no clue. I mean, seriously. So everything that you all are informing me about, and I still don't know all the questions, but I thank you for walking me through this. Is it anything that I'm not asking that you want to reach out and tell people what they can not necessarily look forward to? But is it anything that I may not be asking that you really want to get out there to the people?
I think, and you've asked the great questions, Keisha. And again, thank you for having us on here, because we rely on force multipliers. So you and your audience, hopefully taking some of this to heart a little bit, the idea of kind of being weather aware, thinking about those plans, how you're going to keep yourself, your family, your friends, coworkers, whoever it might be, safe, is a big part of what we're hoping people will do, and they spread that. We've got a lot of strong partnerships all over our forecast area. Our forecast area covers 23 counties, 18 in Illinois, 5 in Northwest Indiana, and we work closely with public safety folks, so emergency management, police, fire, other city governments, county governments, et cetera, to work with them as they make their weather-related decisions about helping keep the community safe and developing plans to keep the community safe, to help spread the word as well. And then, of course, everyone that's in the community. We have information on our website, weather.gov/Chicago. If you scroll down towards the bottom, there's a lot of severe weather safety information that's there. We're on social media on Facebook and X. We're NWS Chicago there. Each spring we have some public outreach that we try to do. We were at Purdue Northwest this past spring doing a program we call Beyond the Warning. And it's a look at severe weather forecasting and preparedness. And we're likely to be out there again this spring, especially now that we have a lot more examples, unfortunately, to use and draw upon. But we'll advertise all those things on our website. And our partners. We've got great connections in the city of Gary with the Gary Fire Department, Lake County Emergency Management. I see a lot of those folks at a monthly meeting, even that they hold as a kind of a coalition in Northwest Indiana for planning purposes. So it's really trying to build weather awareness through the community, through whatever channels is available. Seeing the information, sharing it with your friends, your neighbors, really can make a difference.
And I really want to thank you all. Like I said, you are the ones that even as a kid, I mean, I'm tuning in trying to see what the weather woman, what the weather man is going to say, just so I can know how to prepare. And I don't think a lot of us, and I'm going to speak for myself, I've gotten lazy when it comes to just checking to see what the forecast is going to bring. I might step out and say, oh, it's going to be nice outside, not realizing what is ahead. So I want to appreciate, or tell you guys I appreciate you, because you do keep that website and your platforms updated. Seriously, I like the fact that you are very descriptive on what to look forward to. And it looks like you update it like every hour or so. It looks like it's just updated for the most part. Before we wrap up, and I just want to thank you all, is there anybody that wants to talk about your background, what led you into the field that you're in? Is anybody? Okay, guess not.
I can
Somebody.
go. Why not? I'll go for it. It was so I've been with the Weather Service 22 years now. I actually went to Valparaiso University for my degree in meteorology. So I'm not from Northwest Indiana, but I got kind of a start there early on with weather, and have been in the area for a long time now. My interest in weather actually kind of started with the drought. Actually, as boring as that may sound, the heat wave of 1980. I grew up in Ohio. We had a drought. I was a kid. It was hot out. I'd go outside, ride my bike. We didn't have air conditioning, but we had cable TV in the basement where it was cool. And that's where I discovered cable weather. And so for some reason I got hooked. I used to be really super scared of storms. As a kid, I'd run and hide. And then I guess one day something clicked and I decided to watch it out the window with my dad. And then I went to school, chased storms, which is, you got to be careful. You're trying to do things like that. And then kind of turned a sort of a hobby into a career after all these years now. But it's always something different. Unfortunately, it's a double-edged sword. As beautiful as the weather can be, it can certainly be damaging, destructive, or deadly. So that's a challenge sometimes, because we don't like to see anyone be impacted negatively by the weather. But it's something we have to work with, unfortunately.
And it's
I
a
thank
similar
you for
story here across most people who work in the weather service. We really take our job very seriously. I mean, our families are living in the community, even though most of our stories emanate from something in our past about seeing some winter storm or whatever. We do this as a passion to keep people safe, because we want to keep everybody in the community safe, and we live and breathe this stuff. I'd probably be watching the weather models at home on my own. We're really blessed that we're able to kind of do this for a day-to-day job. But all of our forecasters take things very seriously, and we want to make sure that we pass it along to everybody in the community.
And that is where the appreciation comes from, because you guys don't just do this for fun. That's why I appreciate the time that you all are giving me, because it is a passion. I can just tell. And the fact that I said this before in the email, we need you all. The fact that you all are the front line, you know what's going on, you try to give us a warning. It's our jobs to listen to you so we can be safe. So I just appreciate how much you all pour into the community. Even if it falls on deaf ears, it's not like you all did not tell us, which is, like I said, where I'm appreciative, because, again, I hate to sound like a broken record. When I saw the effects that it did, not just to my city, but to other cities around, I really didn't know what to do. I wanted to reach out as best as I could, and I thought to myself, I have a platform, why not? And the fact that you all came on to just educate what we can do to keep ourselves safe, because one thing, and I know, Kevin, you already addressed it, I don't know if it's coming right back. The fact that we have, received so much severe weather. Even in Indianapolis, I saw that they were dealing with floods. And I'm thinking, so in Indianapolis is flooding. Here in this area, we're dealing with derechos, if I said that correctly. And so now we have to take looking at the weather seriously. We have to follow. I would prefer your platforms, but we have to follow some type of platforms. And so we're almost at that 30-minute mark. I really want to just let you all know how much I appreciate you, to answer the questions that I feel like the people need to know. Again, if you guys don't mind letting people know what platforms you're on. I know you mentioned them already, Mike, but everybody doesn't listen the first time. Where can we find you, and how can we follow you and support you?
Well, we're weather.gov/Chicago is our website. We're NWS Chicago on Facebook and also on X. Those are where we're basically available. NOAA Weather Radio, we talked a little bit about that. That's a 24/7 radio broadcast that originates from our office and gives you the daily forecast, current conditions, but most importantly, has the ability to alert you and get your attention if there's watches and warnings that are issued. So it's we're your tax dollars at work. They say it's about $4 a year per person to keep the weather service running nationwide. But the bottom line is, find a trusted source that you feel you can trust and count on for weather purposes, and stay weather aware. Follow it, pay attention to it, and do that planning ahead of time, and think about where your safe place is before you need to get there, how you're going to communicate with your family or your coworkers or whomever else, and just try to pay attention to the weather as much as you can. With everything else that's going on all the time, it can be hard to do, but it can certainly be very important.
And one more thing before I let you go, Mike and Kevin. I see Erica has already gone out. You sent some great palette work, and I've already started sending that out. One of the features that you showed was where not to go, but I'm going to say, and I really need to stress this to people. One of the pamphlets had a car. Before you go, because I know people who will actually go and sit in the car thinking it's a form of safety. Can I hear you say that is not the smartest move to make?
Sure. It's if we're dealing with tornadoes and high winds, a car is a dangerous place to be. You really want to get into a sturdy structure, a building, a solid building, if at all possible. Um, the tricky part is a car can be safe from lightning. So if you're at the park and it's a non-severe thunderstorm, it's not bringing gusty winds, there's no warnings on it, but lightning is going to be a threat with every thunderstorm, then a car is a better place to be than being outside. A solid building, still better yet. But when we're talking severe thunderstorms, so damaging winds, large hail, tornadoes, a car is not a place that you want to be.
Thank you so much. Okay, Mike, Kevin, Erica, National Weather Service, Chicago, all over. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for taking your time and educating me, the people that are around. I hope that they listen, just and take heed to the weather and you guys. So I really want to appreciate you and your time. As promised, we're almost at that 30-minute mark. I want to thank you again. I can't say thank you enough. I'm sure I've said it about 17 times already. So, all right, guys, this is Keisha from Put Your Phone Down podcast. I have had an awesome conversation, an educational conversation, and I want you guys to play this and share this as much as you can. Thank you again, Mike and Kevin from the National Weather Service.
Keisha, thank you very much. Appreciate
All
it.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you.